Welcome back to the channel. This is Wes. We're in the second week of Axe Judgment Day, the big Avengers, X-Men, Eternals crossover event. I actually liked the very first issue. I thought it was pretty darn good, although the Eve of Judgment issue, I was like, whatever. That you can skip that. First issue was good. We get to the second issue, and here to talk to me about that is Doc. How you doing, Doc?
I am good. This fucking sucks, dude.
I don't get it. I was looking at Comic Book Roundup, and the scores are really high, and I just don't see it. I thought this issue was orders of magnitude less good than the first issue. The art was really strange. I don't think there was much story in the book at all. It was kind of like filler. Should we be doing filler issues on the second publication of the event? I don't think so.
No, we really shouldn't. And you're right. Essentially, nothing happened here. The big event here, other than the last page, which we'll get to, was the introduction of these 6 rando fuckers.
So we got to meet the 6 most important people in the Marvel Comics universe. It kind of opens up the story. And it's just 6 randos, and one girl's talking about how she's been tweeting her support for Krakoa, and it makes her feel better, and all that. It's just some of the dumbest, cringiest inner monologue you'll ever see in a comic book. This makes me hate every single one of these characters, and I think we're supposed to care about them.
I think I'm starting to understand what they're important about, like why.
Yeah, they're the ones that are going to die when the Eternals are resurrected.
Oh, absolutely. And because the whole premise behind the Eternals is that a human dies to, resurrect an Eternal, I have a feeling at the end of this series, or partway through this series, you're going to get the humans to turn on the Eternals by the mutants making it clear, or this rando person that they introduced in this issue died so that it could resurrect a giant golem. And 6 of them are going to die. The mutants will make it public, and somehow that's just going to turn public sentiment against the Eternals.
Yeah, it's just not very compelling as far as stories go. And it feels like a lot of this is stuck in neutral. You have Tony Stark sitting in the Celestial with Ajax and a couple of other Eternals there, along with Mr. Sinister. And then you have the Avengers on Krakoa, along with, obviously, the X-Men fighting these big kaiju called the Hex. What the fuck was wrong with Mr. Sinister's face? He looked like he was strung out, like he was on meth or something.
It's Chip Zdarsky with long hair on a heroin binge. That's what he looked like. That art was really bad. The hairline was goofy. The proportions on the face, the expressions. He didn't look anything like Sinister. And it was really kind of creepy. I'm like, did Valerio Schiti suddenly forget how to draw Mr. Sinister? Because that's what it looked like.
I don't know. It's off-putting, and it's hard to read what's going on the page when you have art that stands out in such a bad manner like that. Like, it's hard to remember even what's happening because the Mr. Sinister art is just so bad. And then we do see the Avengers show up, and Exodus is like, we don't need impure beings or people that haven't been touched by God here. And Magic's like, shut it. We're taking the help, which makes all the sense in the world. Why would the X-Men turn away help? And they're having some battles, but it feels so insignificant. We even do see a few characters die within this issue, which feels like, oh my goodness, we had a character die. But it's the X-Men, it's modern X-Men, and they're literally resurrected within a couple pages.
I don't understand what the point in this is if you're just going to end up in the exact same place you started. Okay, they fight, kill each other, and then they're immediately resurrected.
Yeah, there's the big moment with Exodus, and I guess he's using his telekinetic power to pierce the armor of this big, I think it's called a Hex. It's some type of eternal kaiju that showed up. His armor is pierced so he can penetrate his mind or whatever, and he blows him up like it's an atomic bomb, but it means nothing. Like, it wasn't even a sacrifice.
No, because on like basically the next page, Exodus is getting hatched again, and the following page, that Arjun guy, one of those 6 randos, is dead, and that giant kaiju's back.
Yeah, the guy from India died. It's like, okay, I guess there are just no stakes whatsoever in this comic book. And then obviously, and then there's this big, I guess, a tidal wave or a tsunami that's coming for the Philippines and Guam. And somehow, I guess, Captain America can stop fucking tidal waves along with Captain Marvel. So they leave, and Exodus is like, yeah, see, they're abandoning us. It was like, this is just terrible. The choreograph of the scenes on why things are happening just feels so unimportant.
I'm confused how the tsunami that's coming for Australia and Japan is also coming for the east coast of the United States, because that's what it said. I don't know. It's going to jump over America, then like land on New York. It doesn't really make a good bit of sense. And, you know, you needed the Captain America validating the X-Men here. Thank you, Scott. You're heroes. One day people will see you as you really are.
Did you see his face, though? It looked like he didn't mean it.
Yeah, it not only did it look like it didn't mean it, but it looks like he's being mind controlled into saying it.
It was so strange. I was like, am I supposed to be reading into this? Because it looks like he hates him. He's hoping Scott will die just from that look.
Yeah, it's really creepy. And again, it was Valerio Schiti. Like, what the hell's going on, dude? Like, the art here is really questionable. It feels like this whole comic is just spinning its wheels already. Is the lesson here supposed to be that the immortality is bad because nothing ever changes for you? Nothing.
Well, I think
nothing
it's the hypocrisy of the Eternals, saying that the mutants having resurrection makes them deviants when they're resurrecting themselves using humans. I believe that's what we're supposed to be getting out of this. But at one point, Doc, and this was the worst part of the comic book, in a double-page spread, we get these vertical scenes going on, I guess, across the world, and the stupid Celestial that they're trying to resurrect, Tony Stark and A.X.E and them are trying to get to protect them, starts narrating the fucking story. And it was so god-awful. I almost destroyed my tablet because I fucking hated it so much.
Oh, it was really bad. I'm still trying to figure out if that's the same narrator from the first one. That's
no.
Machine.
That's the Celestial that they're resurrecting.
So now we have two fucking narrators that are both not people, that are like some sort of AI thing. One's a Celestial that hasn't been born yet or reborn yet, and the other is the Earth.
Well, apparently he's aware of everything because he's talking about all the things that are happening, that he's coming to protect people. And, Tony Stark is the perfect vehicle because he once powered Venom-controlled Celestial body, obviously in King of Black. It was just all kinds of stupid stuff going on. Kieron Gillen is not the best writer in the world when it comes to dialogue, in my opinion. I think he does have some cringy dialogue. We get plenty of that here. But once the fucking Celestial starts doing the inner monologue and telling you what's happening, I almost checked out. I don't know if I can handle another comic book being narrated by this stupid Celestial.
I've never thought Kieron Gillen was a good writer. And so this is exactly the expectation that I had for him. And he's achieved the exact level of bullshit that I expected. I mean, every time somebody tells me, hey, no, Kieron Gillen, he's actually good, I point and go, look, I one of these days, I might misevaluate a writer, but that day ain't today, and I'm still batting 1,000.
Now, I think Kieron Gillen's done some good stuff in the past, but dialogue has never been a strong suit. It's never. I mean, I've seen worse from him, I guess, in the past, but this thing is pretty atrocious.
Well, his plot's not all that great either here.
No, it's meandering. Nothing happens. This book does not move forward until the very last page, when the Celestial is shockingly resurrected by Tony Stark and A.X.E. It sounds like, oh, this could be difficult, but nope, no problems whatsoever. It happens exactly that they want it to. No issues whatsoever. And then the Celestial is resurrected, and he's here to judge all of Earth or something. I look like the Undertaker, as you can imagine, with my eyes rolled so far in the back of my head, they almost, popped out of my ass. You know what I mean?
Oh God, yeah. I mean, here's the reason why Kieron Gillen can't write. It's because he doesn't know how to make people struggle. He just has a next thing that he wants to get to. So whatever complicated, convoluted, Wile E. Coyote level fucking plan that all the characters have to go through to get to his next plot point, guaranteed every single time, they will not struggle in the slightest bit. There will be no mistakes. Everything will work out just so he can get to his next plot point, because the guy can't fucking write. The world doesn't work like that. People don't, their plans do not always come together. This isn't an episode of the fucking A-Team.
Well, just the idea that the stupid Celestial, now everyone gets to be judged, and that's what all these stupid tie-ins are going to be.
Yeah.
Tony Stark being judged. You used to be an alcoholic. Are you a good person now? Oh God, I don't want to revisit this anymore.
but Carol definitely will.
Well,
She
I'm sure
won't need
she'll
to
be
be
judged for being an alcoholic too.
Well, she will, but then the Celestial thing will just spend the next 21 pages be like, you were an alcoholic, you were a problem, but, and then 21 pages of validation for her, because that's the only thing that they
I'm literally in awe of you and everything that you've accomplished.
Yes, maybe you should be the Celestial.
Your alcoholism.
Yes, I will give you my Celestial powers, because that's what they fucking do with Carol. I mean, hell, she punched a tidal wave. Like that wouldn't matter.
Well, that makes sense. Okay, I guess that's why you send her to the Philippines with Captain America to stop a tsunami, because she can punch a tidal wave, I guess.
That's not how punches work.
It's established in canon, Doc. It works.
This is fucking stupid.
Like I said, I thought the first issue was like really solid. I'm a little surprised here. They didn't lead up to it very well, but interesting things going on here. I had some issues here and there, obviously, with killing off an entire planet of mutants. Obviously, I guess that ends up happening in X-Men Red. I was like, well, that's kind of stupid. There are a couple other issues, but for the most part, I was like, hey, X Judgment Day, this thing's going to be good. Get to issue number 2, ball already dropped, already doing filler issues where nothing is happening until the very last page for your big, obviously, your big cliffhanger reveal from Kieron Gillen. Valerio Schiti, I don't know what happened here. Apparently, he did not have any time whatsoever, but the art was just, it was very It was un-Valerio shitty. Like, how's that?
It was Valerio shitty this time.
It was absolutely shitty. Yes.
You liked the first issue a lot more than me, but honestly, this is about the same. By the end of the first
way
issue,
worse.
By the end,
nothing as bad as that double page spread with the Celestial starts.
You're right.
Narrating.
That is the narration in it, but the narration of the first issue was pretty fucking bad too. And by the end of the first issue, any sort of concern or struggle that the X-Men might have, they once again, he doesn't know how to write people struggling, because whatever minor roadblocks he put in front of them in that first issue, they overcome in a page. They didn't even bother to put roadblocks in front of them this time. Everything just worked according to plan.
I did have some issues with X Judgment Day number 1, but for the most part, I thought it was readable. It was something I could recommend. I couldn't in good conscience recommend X Judgment Day number 2. This thing was absolutely terrible. But definitely check out the first issue. This was actually kind of fun. Hopefully we get back to more quality as the story goes along, but this week was not a good sign.